We almost got some bad audio right there, but we good, baby.
I remember the post you posted about the splitter to get you started.
Yeah. Man, I was so hyped. You know how many YouTube videos I had to watch just to figure this out? Because I had one already, but it was the wrong one. And I'm like, dog, what's wrong with this splitter? I watched like 10 different videos, and then some guy that barely even spoke English like, yeah, you need one with 4 rings in it, not 3. And I'm like, what?
Just one more.
It costs like $5, bro. So, but now we got good audio, so we can talk to the lovely YouTube viewership. What's good, folks? It's your boy Kyle, aka Track, aka Trackstar, aka Trackalack, aka Tracky Bear. But we gotta be close for you to call me that. What's good, folks? This is the Artist Podcast. We're in the building. I'm so hyped about this episode. I've talked about this guy. I've talked about you in both episodes that I've done so far.
That's good news.
That's crazy. You were highly anticipated, and I ain't even posted an episode yet. But I got my boy Russ here, aka Escove, aka what was Cloud Hunter?
Cloud Hunter, yes sir, yes sir.
You sent me that text that had me dying. That was hella funny. But real quick to explain, at least in my perspective, what this guy does. This guy, oh yeah, my bad. I'm gonna break down the Artist Podcast once again because we're still fresh at this. Every day we're gonna have a dope time. I'm gonna get a really dope artist, an artist that does something creative, and I'm gonna bring them on so we can have some fire conversations. We're gonna show you some fire art at the same time. Best of both worlds. We're gonna just talk about the important shit that we love the most, which is creating. But my nigga Russ is one of the illest painters I have ever met personally. My boy Carlson told me a lot about him, and then I met him, and it exceeded my expectations already. But to break down what he does, it's definitely abstract work. Don't get it twisted, because he can do some realistic shit too. Probably better than he'd even give himself credit to. He just showed me this hummingbird that was fire. But he does this abstract work, but with this abstract work, he's really, really excellent with geometrical patterns. And his color palette is just super, super colorful. So you get a lot of really good colors. But I think my favorite part about it is his sense of texture. He adds these textures that are super unique. And with those geometric patterns split up in that color palette, makes some amazing, really trippy, but really vibrant and expressive pieces. But you can tell by how geometric his shit is that he's a tactician. He's not just doing some random shit and just seeing how it goes. And no shade to anybody that does that, 'cause that's a really cool style as well. But I've never seen an abstract artist that is so tactical like you. So I think I immediately related to that, because I'm caught in my details with the realism and doing all of that. But I guess to start from your beginnings, how long have you been painting, bro? It's been a while. I can say it's been a long time.
I'd have to say probably, first off, I'm sorry I correct anybody that messes it up, but the real name is Es-co-vay, E-S-C-O-V-E, or
Ooh,
Esco.
Es-co-vay, that's fancy.
I got it from Nas Escobar. For some reason, I liked his last name, and then I took off the B-A-R because I don't like writing B's or A's or R's, unfortunately. But I digress. To talk about how long I've been painting, I started painting seriously in my junior year of high school, I think. Mrs. Atherton was the painting teacher, and I sat in the back of the class and messed with all these different mediums and stuff, but the one thing that really stuck with me was tempera paint and acrylic paint, because it dried really quick, and I seemed to be better at that than watercolor, because I always fucked that up with the water, adding too much water, having too little water, you know what I'm saying? It was really annoying. But yeah, so I'd say, what one was I? I graduated 2007. That gives you my age, I guess. Man, that's about 10 years. Almost 10 years, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your junior year of high school was your first time painting.
First time painting, yeah. I was drawing ever since I was
crazy.
Had a book and a pencil in my hand, really.
Wow. Okay, so how about some of your first art experiences? Were you artsy prior to, or?
Yeah, for sure. I would say living in New York and seeing my brother always doing art.
Is that where you're from, New York?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me. And yeah, I'll go around the city, see graffiti everywhere, and then see my brother drawing. And just my mom gave me this green sketchbook in 3rd grade, I remember. And me and my buddy Vincent, we would draw skateboards and people skateboarding and little skate parks that we created. and he couldn't really draw that much, but he would sit there and tell me like what to draw and like be like, yeah, that's dope. And yeah, I guess seeing the graffiti and getting that first sketchbook from my mom was my first like escape into the art world.
Damn. That's cool. You got me reminiscing now. Just that, cause I keep asking the different artists on like some of their first art memories. It's crazy how vivid it stays for those people who like go into adulthood. Man. Like it's just like you remember the first time you fell in love with it. It's nuts. It's like a person that you met that you just fall for and just get this infatuation, but it just doesn't leave. Yep. When sometimes it does leave. Like for me, it left. I took art for granted. Like my whole life. I've been drawing since like. That was my earliest hobby for as long as I can remember. Yeah. My mom passed when I was very little. Not to be sad, nothing like that. But just I remember her teaching me how to draw from stick figures. Word. We would do the stick figures and then branch out from the stick figures. Yeah. That was my first little art memories. And then like my independent first art memory was I don't know what came first, either Rugrats or Pokemon.
Rugrats came first for sure.
I'm pretty sure it was Rugrats.
Yeah, man.
So, all right, Rugrats drops, and I get these 2 coloring books. 2 different coloring books, and I love them so much, and I love Rugrats. So, what I was doing in elementary school was I would take the coloring books, I'd pass them both around, and I'd tell people to put their initials on whatever one their favorite one was. And I would draw it and sell it for them for like $1. Yeah, right. And I always say, like, I wish somebody would have came up to me and be like, yo, like, you could be like a young entrepreneur. Like you could be really good with business. Or nobody really dropped that gem on me or nothing like that. So luckily I just kept at it. But yeah, it was interesting. Rugrats and then Pokemon and I got the first handbook and I just for some reason I think it was because the game you like literally couldn't catch them all. Mm-hmm. So because of that I wanted to draw every one of them because maybe in my own weird way that was the way of connecting with that Pokemon and that was my way of catching them all, I guess. Yeah. So I went from Bulbasaur all the way to Mew and drew literally every one of them shits.
That's 150?
Yeah, you're 151 technically. Yeah. But yeah.
Because of Mew.
Yep. Yeah, that shit was hard too. I remember Gyarados because that was like towards the end. I'm like, dog. Sorry guys, I'm nerding out with the Pokemon. So if you're not familiar, Pokemon, I wouldn't be an artist if for Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, and I ride for that. Without them 2 cartoons, I probably wouldn't be here.
Man, if we're talking about cartoons, I'd probably have to say Calvin and Hobbes and Garfield for sure. Okay. My mom would take me to Barnes & Noble, and she would always say, you can get one...
I like Garfield.
One comic book, and it was every time. And she would probably go maybe like once every 2 weeks or so. So I collected the whole series of Garfield, I collected the whole series of Calvin and Hobbes. And just like going through Garfield and seeing all the different poses and stuff, I would put the paper over and try to trace it and try to do it by myself. But yeah.
Okay, so that brings me to how did you get to this transition of this style? Because it sounds like you did a lot of drawing cartoon characters and things like that as well, and then took your own evolution you got to high school, started painting. How did you get into this style? I'm sure this was a multi-layered question because you got your textures and the geometry and the palette and all of that, but
I would have to say it was an acid trip. To be honest with you, man, it was an acid trip, bro. There you go. I had always been fascinated with like the psychedelics and stuff, and I tampered with mushrooms a little bit in my 8th grade summer going into 9th grade. With a buddy of mine, and that just like opened my mind to some crazy stuff. And then I learned about sacred geometry, and that blew my mind.
Sacred geometry?
Yeah, sacred geometry. Pretty much, not to go into a long story, but it's how everything can start from one point, and then you draw a circle, and then the mathematics of it all, and pretty much, if you've ever heard of the golden ratio, like how a painting is supposed to be split up.
Oh yeah, that's
spiral.
A bunch of yeah.
That's all sacred geometry. Yep.
Huh, I wonder if that's something that slipped by me in my history classes. I remember the golden
ratio.
I remember the golden ratio now that you mentioned that, for sure. And there's certain compositional rules that, yeah, I remember. And it's interesting how that works for a lot of people. There's some things that you just do intuitively.
Oh, I can show you too. We have a tablet here. So, let's talk about, let's see.
I did not see that coming. That's funny. An acid trip.
Yes, sir.
So we might as well go ahead and get into it then. Fuck
Drugs?
it. Like, it's right. Well, in terms of how that inspired you and at that moment of reaching that inspiration, in terms of like whenever that light bulb moment hit for you, to like, whoa, this was a major inspiration for me, and then you start to take off. Did you ever go through a moment of feeling dependence for the art, or
Dependence such as what?
like
Did I depend on it?
you know how people ask what weed, like, do you have to smoke before you draw or something like that?
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, there was a moment, like, I guess halfway through college, and then really when I graduated college, where I was just heavily focused on all this stuff, which is the flower of life, which I was trying to say earlier, and like the metacubes and all that, octahedron, tetrahedron.
See, eventually in the podcast, I'm gonna have moments where, like, just like the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm not sure if you've seen it. Shout outs to the Joe Rogan podcast. You're like the pod father for me. Him, Joe Budden podcast, dope. Y'all played a lot of inspiration for me doing this shit. But during the Joe Rogan podcast, anytime they're talking about anything that involves the internet, or if they're debating something that you can look up real quick with some facts, they have a tech guy in there that will look it up and will be showing this while they're having this conversation, so the viewers aren't left out with it. In due time, folks. I'm just not out here like that yet.
It's good.
But this shit's ill.
Yeah. But I feel like I never really just had to smoke to draw. Or I really took it as like a meditation whenever I was doing this, because the lines, I guess, okay, so that's where my tactician like style, I guess, came from, because I wanted so badly to like make my lines straight and like get my shading right, so then I could pull something out of it. Because after I took that acid hit, whenever I looked at the grid that I made myself before I started anything, I could see the depth and like the width of it and everything. It became something that I could walk around in my mind, and so I could pull it and push it and like poke it and carve it however I wanted to. And that to me was a meditation, because I would actually draw with a lot of people around, because I always roomed with a lot of people that like to have company, and I'm not that type of person, honestly. But yeah, when people would be around, I'd be in my sketchbook just like drawing some shit out, and then they would not bother me at all, and I would feel totally relaxed. But there were days when I didn't draw, and I could feel the agitation starting, and I could feel like the anxiousness and the depression and all that stuff happening.
Just from not drawing, like you felt.
Just from not drawing, just from not doing that daily task of like opening my mind, I guess.
This is around the same time of your mind just being blown with the sacred geometry and this acid trip.
Yes.
This one trip did this for you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
How fast was this rate of going on, in terms of whenever that moment of your mind getting blown and you just learned something, and the studying it to this point, I guess, of having this knowledge of, when was that age, I guess I'm asking first off?
My 20s, my early 20s.
Early 20s?
Yeah,
Okay.
early 20s. My early 20s is where everything really happened.
That's dope, me too.
Yeah. I went from living with my bandmates to living with my art friend. And that house was insane, because we would always be doing art all the time. And we both worked at this restaurant. And if he wasn't home, he was working, and I would be home and I'd be churning stuff out. He'd come home and just like join me immediately, and just the vibe there was dope. And then I moved in with my girlfriend, and that worked out pretty well, because I had my own little room, and just the space was something different to work with. And then I moved in by myself, and this, as you can see, this whole place is just a studio. And that's all. That's what I wanted, just a studio space.
So I have so many questions. I'm trying to stick to the geometry part because that's what we're on right now. When you're doing these paintings, like I said, I can tell you're a tactician. You put down. I knew it just because you put down painter's tape. Anybody who puts down painter's tape had like that's you at least taking it into 2 steps in terms of first I have to do this so I can execute this later.
Yeah.
Now for you, it's many steps in there. Clearly you can tell. So how does that part work in your mind? Do you already have a clear vision of what these are going to be like, or how does that?
Some of them I do, some of them I don't. Some of them are just like a random sketch that I draw up, and I'm like, damn, okay, I can expand on this, or oh, that would look cool on this type of shape. And then there's like times where I just put down a grid and lay down one color and then see where I want to take it. But I didn't always use tape. I actually prided myself in not using tape for a while.
Yeah, I've been like
and
that.
Then,
yeah.
I was like,
with straight lines.
Yeah, I was like,
like
fuck it.
that
I got
too.
the steady hand, whatever, I can do it. And then I was just like, you know what? Be humble, bro. Just take the time and lay down the tape, because the quality afterwards is so worth it. And I even like went through a phase of finding out the best way to lay down the tape and then seal off the edge so I don't get any like bleed or anything.
Right.
And my friend, he like just told me use matte medium, and it makes it pretty much creates a seal right there. And then when you take up the tape, there's no bleed because there's a shield right there.
Matte medium. What's that?
It's
just like a clear paint of sorts.
It's a medium. It can be used as like a glue, or just like blending the colors or extending the colors, but it dries really quickly too.
Oh, so this
and it's translucent.
Yeah, that's what I was about to. Yeah, you can see through that. That's clear, so it doesn't affect your colors at all. But that's what creates that layer you're talking about. So then you can go in with
get those crisp lines.
Wow, that's crazy, huh? So you do pre-drawings for a lot of these, or how many do you think?
I would say if I'm gonna do a series, then I pretty much pre-draw all of them. But if it's not like a series like this truck thing that I'm doing for a company, I'm just going at it. And then that long canvas right there, that's probably just gonna be a freestyle. I just finished a commission for a friend that was completely a freestyle. But that one I had to start over and actually get another canvas, because the first one I tried too hard. Added too many details, and the painter's tape wasn't working very well, so I just had to trash it.
Interesting. So now that I'm looking, because you definitely are amazing with the geometrical figures, and back to the sacred geometry part, the way you apply that is nuts. But you have this good balance because you also apply some organic shapes within some of these as well.
Yeah.
How did
geometry was getting too boring.
Finding that balance, okay.
And
so you have some that were just because that one over there on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 6 hexagon. Yes, there we go. On the hexagon, it's a lot more geometric shapes, but then you go in with those lines that swirl through that make some organic shapes within those.
So those lines, not to get away from the topic, but those lines that you see in that piece and this, where is it? This piece right behind us, they're pretty much like in the big piece in my room. It's pretty much showing that nothing is perfect, and people can walk through life and they will have blemishes on them, and nobody can get like a straight, clean slate. There's always something that's going to be there in life. And I mean, I would much rather see that, because it makes it more interesting in my eyes. You know?
It definitely does.
And it adds a different flow, because then you can choose which way you want to go.
Yeah,
and
in
life you choose which way you want to go.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
I blew my own mind when I started doing that. My girlfriend asked me, and that's the explanation.
So did you know why you was doing? Did you think of that concept first and then start doing that,
no,
or did you do it?
When she asked me, when I answered her, I was like, "Whoa."
I love them moments. Dog. I'm like, I don't know why I did it, and then you figure it out in your own mind. And you're like, yo, I love them shits.
Yep.
That's crazy.
But
mad
to get
dope.
back to your original question, I veered away from geometrics because I was always doing this thing called the cycle of rotation, and I'll show you a painting right now.
Cycle of rotation.
The cycle, the rotation. So like this thing,
Mm-hmm.
you can see the rotation in it, and then you see this energy being created.
Right.
So like that's just like the rebirth of everything coming out right here. And I would mindlessly draw these types of things in meetings and in class in college, in my notebooks,
Mm-hmm.
never knowing what it really was. And then I started adding the cockpits, and I started getting interested in that. And then I started adding these guys, and I was like, oh snap, okay. And yeah, I've been fusing those two together, pretty much.
Man, that's crazy. Okay, so are you been
I see
painting?
you looking at the birds. I have a fascination with birds for some reason, so that's why I try to draw those.
Y'all love animals.
Just the layers that you have to put down.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many different textures and colors and yeah, just like you said, just the layers. There's always something within an animal, whether it's from the fur textures or scales on something, or even if it's just some
Ooh.
dry ass skin. There's just always
To reptiles.
something.
Man.
Scales. Oh man, I've drawn a snake a couple times. It's not fun. It is. I'm such a glutton for punishment. It's fun, but it's not fun.
I feel like that's why I do the tape. It's just like fuck, right? This is gonna take time, but I have nothing but time,
Right.
so let's fucking do it.
Yeah, which goes back to right, because you're like me, you get impatient with it sometimes. You're like, all right, fuck it, we can go in with these details. How long did it take you to get to the point of knowing that you got to put down the tape, and then just on a second question on top of that, have you just gotten impatient and just totally fucked your shit up completely from that?
Yes. Yes, multiple times.
Damn.
But I've always fought my way back and like figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm proud about. I can like if I fuck up a color and then I have to remix it, I am really good at matching that color again. Like really good. So I mean, not fixing like a tape mistake isn't too hard, but it is like a damn, now I'm set back type of thing.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the beauties about paint. You can always paint over it.
That's why I think I
Always.
like it.
It's one of the most forgiving mediums.
Yep.
Even with the drawing, you can draw enough on some paper or whatever it is and fuck it up, and you can't get the graphite off or whatever it is off. But you can always paint over paint. Yeah, my painting teacher in college hit me with that one. I was like, yo, damn, yeah, I like paint. I like paint. I love to paint. It's just not as practical for me in the sense where I move around a lot and I can always carry my drawing shit in my backpack. So I'm just always on that mode. But if I have spaces like this and I need to just take the time to provide my own space, I can really get down on some paint shit.
Yeah.
I got plenty of supplies.
I don't really sketch that much either. It's more like I'm type of trying to stay awake or just let my mind wander.
So have you gone through any like dry periods or?
Of painting?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's usually when I'm angry or just really busy because I'm a busy person.
Interesting. So is there anything? So you said it's about being angry. So like, what kind of things do you do to? Can you control it? Can you get back to your zone? Can you kind of manifest your own zone to stay in it? How do you do that?
Sometimes I'll smoke some weed
There
and
you go.
then just force myself to paint, and then I usually just end up painting.
There you go.
Or I'll meditate, man. I'll meditate, or I'll go skate, or I'll ride my bike, or I'll just sit here and stare at the piece until something moves.
Yeah.
Because it usually makes me move somehow. I've just
Okay.
learned to give it its time. Because I am a very impatient person, and I'm learning to have patience, and through art I learned the patience And one thing I've learned from that patience is to give it time
Word.
to give you like an answer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's an answer, but sometimes the moment you walk away, that next second could have been like that epiphany or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, real shit. Real shit, yeah.
Sorry, I get too deep sometimes.
Nah, that's I'm just the same. Especially with like the dry period part. I always got stuff. I always got ideas for something. It's just a matter of like I'm just not really feeling like doing that one in particular. But sit that my ass down and just make myself do one of them, and boom, there you go. Some shit hits, and I don't know. What do you think? Do you have an end game or do you have an ultimate goal for yourself artistically?
Want to live off of it.
There you go.
Well, I'll always teach somehow, so I guess I just want to make some money off of it and travel and go see places and give the public my art to be seen somewhere, anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the biggest painting you've ever done?
The biggest painting?
Yep.
Like size-wise?
Yeah.
Um,
Even though that could be a tricky question because your dimensions are
yeah.
different on some of your paintings, which I'm gonna get into in a second. But
Man, I would probably have to say like 12 feet by
12 feet. Ooh.
12 feet by 12 feet. I mean, we didn't cover the whole surface, but yeah, I was on ladders and all that stuff.
That was a collab piece.
Yeah, it was me and
Okay.
Wade.
Okay, that's really really cool. All right, on another question, yeah, because I've done music collaborations, but physical art. Have
It's
I ever
fun,
done a collab? I don't think I have. We're definitely talking about doing one, and I
Yes,
definitely
sir.
want to do one. I have another friend. Shout out, Charles. Shit, shout outs to you, man. He has a really dope aesthetic of his own. Hopefully, I can see him when I go home in a couple weeks. But anyways, we always wanted to do something together. It's just a matter of what, because we had similar styles. So I'd argue me and him probably would have we clashed maybe just because I don't know. We just have similar style. Yeah. We're both realistic artists, and he has a totally cool style now. He's got some really cool shit on some cartoon type shit. He makes. I'm shit plug him and break down his whole aesthetic. It's really unique.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This is my cat, Tango.
Right, Tango's wanting to talk too. But my homie, he takes rappers and I believe it's called Hip Hop Topia. Sorry if I just butchered your shit, my nigga. But really cool aesthetic. He'll take rappers and some pop artists and he'll transition them into being like a cartoonistic animal. And he'll place them in a setting. And he's like in the process of making coloring books and shit for his son and for kids.
Genius idea.
Yeah, and he went from realism to that. So it's super
Genius
dope,
idea,
right?
Charles.
Super dope. Yeah, and it threw me off the first couple times I saw it. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like, damn, I didn't know who he was doing it, but he's getting good at applying some little details. And he did a Wild Thoughts. Is that the song Rihanna and Bryson Tiller?
Yes.
Yeah, he did one of him, and he drew an animal of some sort that had a very similar color palette and pattern that was something that Rihanna had on. And he did a picture side by side of seeing Rihanna and seeing the fish, I believe it was.
That's dope.
And and I'm finally catching up to it. He's on to something. It's super dope. So shout outs to you, my nigga. But anyways, how'd you get into that, and how does that work with the collab pieces? Because that's a really selfless thing, and I really like that. I wish more artists that I met were like that. So how did you guys get into the collab piece thing?
I just really that's pretty much the basis of the Blue Dozen. The Blue Dozen Collective, which is a collective that I'm in. We all just love art for art's sake. Tango, you are really talking. Let me open this door for him.
Dang, I didn't even see those ones up there. the brown maze type. It's not a
That's
maze.
my friend's.
That's ill too.
Yeah, I love that. And that's a peyote flower. It's like a aerial, like a overtop vision of it.
Huh.
And then the flowers in the middle red, obviously. The cactus is green. And then the outer layer of the cactus, and then the sand.
Peyote flower.
And the purple is like the shadow.
Interesting. I've never seen what a peyote flower looks
It's on
like.
a cactus. It's a red flower on it.
Huh. Cool. Cool. So the collective. Collective.
Yeah. Blue Dozen
Blue
Collective.
Dozen Collective.
Yeah. We all just like to get down and just do art for art's sake. And collabing is something that we enjoy doing the most. It's like, it is a very selfless act. It's allowing yourself to trust another person to just rock their thing, like from their heart, right next to you or intertwined with you or whatever. And it's just a cool feeling, because I mean, whenever you see the outcome, you're always pleased with it. And then you might meet somebody you never have met before. But yeah, we were at this thing called Meeting of Styles last year, and they went to it this year and they rocked it again. But last year we spray painted the side of this place called Houston, oh my gosh, Art Museum. I think I probably butchered that too. But yeah, and it was 12 feet high by, I don't know, 11 to 12 feet wide. And there was just 6 or 7 of them. And we did a big B, D, C with roller paint with rollers.
Like the letters literally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Deco thought of that. And then we each like teamed up with another person and did a door. And we all did just like a piece. And he and I did a face and with like mushrooms coming out of it and crazy eyes and smoke coming out of the eyes. And then some geometric shapes like floating underneath and stuff. It was really cool.
Wow. So sorry. Did you say there was 6 different of these?
6 different garage doors. It was it's like a huge hangar.
So there's 6 different 12 foot by.
Yeah, it was huge, man. 12 foot
y'all,
by 12 foot.
Y'all, so like y'all, how many of y'all were in the group that did these 6 different 12 foot by 11 foot
man,
things?
let's see.
Love this beat.
There's probably 12 of us, I think.
It's impressive. How long did it take y'all to do it?
It was 12. I don't remember. I think 9, maybe 9. It took us 2 days. Because
What?
Yeah, we rocked it out, man. We're there all day. What else are you gonna do? Paint, bro.
What?
When we come together, it's all about the art.
Did y'all get paid for this?
Nah. It's Meeting of Styles. You go and like you get a wall and you rock it, and then you get pictures and people meet you and you meet people. Like there are some dope graffiti writers there too, from Sao Paulo, fucking France, just crazy places. There's a skate park in the back too that was
in Houston.
bombed. Yeah,
This goes on every year.
it happened every year. It happened this year.
When?
In October.
Y'all might check this out.
Yep.
That'd be pretty cool. Damn,
There's another one called Clog Caps in San Antonio. That one I remember going to with my dad because I really, really wanted to go. I brought my black book and got this dude to sign it, and I geeked out so hard because I saw him on the internet. This was before Instagram and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, he's gonna be there. I gotta find him. I found him, saw his piece. Dude, I was blown away. That was awesome.
That's crazy. So I don't think I've asked anything about your textures yet, which is really, really cool because I know you use a palette knife on certain areas. When did you get into a palette knife, or what put you on palette knife usage?
My brother always drops gems of knowledge at random times. He'll randomly call me and just be like, yo, I was thinking about you. Let's have a conversation. And we'll just talk. And
older brother?
Yeah, older brother.
Okay.
And then something he says will just like open up a lock or something. And he was talking about getting outside of the box of painting and like messing with the paint. And so I got like a packet of palette knives. And they were plastic, and I was like, man, maybe I should have gotten metal ones, but nah, they work just as well. And started mixing the paint and just laying it down, and I just loved the feeling of pushing the paint and seeing the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 colors mixed together, and like some will be hidden from others, or like on top of, and it was just like a fight between the colors. And then you can make them all mix together with just a simple movement of pressure.
Right.
And then I was reading High Fructose magazine, and I saw a picture of some paint, and it was acrylic, and it looked like rocks and rough. And I found out, like in the description, it was pumice, and so I found pumice and tried that out, and was blown away by it.
Yeah, and that's the pumice. This is what he uses to make, like he just implied, like some rock-like textures and some really, it looked like sandpaper almost.
Yeah.
And just applying this in the paint, and because remember he does these geometric patterns. We got to definitely make sure, like on definitely the one that Carlton wants, because that one has some of the same stuff to show these viewers, like right around in this moment. Just note to myself, but just these textures are just within just a few of these geometric shapes, so it's very balanced the way he'll place these and just put them in certain areas, and then have some other textures in other areas as well. Shit's amazing, to say the least. Are all of those the collective blue? Or the blue collect? Damn, I cannot get that right. Blue dozen. BDC. Are all of those BDC collabs?
No, only the tall one, the crocodile guy.
So how does that conversation work in terms of like how you just broke that down just a second ago? Like
pretty much, we were all having a session. We were all having a session. Me, Cask, and Bricks. And Cask looks at me and he's like, "Hey, you want to do a collab?" It's like, "Sure." And I was like, "What do you want to do?" And then he said, "I'll draw a character, and he can be wearing like a sweater or something. And you can put your patterns over it." And I was like, "All right," kind of like a Kuji sweater. He was like, "Yeah, let's do that." And I was like, "Okay." So he drew it up, and then I started drawing my Kuji sweater on top.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so fuck it. Let's freestyle right now. We got our collab piece that we're thinking about doing. I have the zebra and the black lady right on the left side, and then there's just a ton of that dead space right there in the middle. With your geometric patterns and your awesome color palette, how can we combine these two?
I can use
and bring a balance to it.
I could use gouache, which is like a mixture between acrylic and watercolor, and I can kind of border. You have a zebra and a lady.
And I forgot she has some awesome clothes on too. So she has some geometric patterns on her shit too.
Is it flowing out or is it flowing
It's not. Down? It's not flowing out. It's going mostly down. It's pretty tight fitting on her, but there's some awesome shapes within her shit too. I forgot about that part.
Then I could try to mimic those shapes and like trickle it out and then up and then kind of like explode up and take up maybe like 1/3 of the upper half. Kind of keep that ratio going, you know what I mean? And do patterns up there. I think that'd be pretty cool. Kind of create like a sky, but the sky is not the whole background. If that makes sense.
Okay.
The sky is created from the trickle out of. Okay, so think of like her patterns trickling off of her, and then coming up, and then opening up.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like she's part of the atmosphere instead of just standing on a blank background.
Right, it's breaking off and
she's
either out of her, going through her, or that could be dope. Okay, now how can we combine it in terms of like the colors? Because mine is monochromatic. I was thinking, I have an idea, but I'd be interested to see if you had an idea.
I could do minimal color, or I could keep like the monochromatic going up and then do the monochromatic to color or chroma to be politically correct. Monochromatic to color gradient. So it comes out of monochromatic into color.
Break away slowly into it.
Yeah.
That could be super dope. That could be cool. I was thinking either one of two things in terms of either something similar to that, like not breaking out of her though, but that's an excellent idea. I didn't think about that part. Sorry,
No, you're fine.
Thinking out loud. I'm thinking about a lot of shit, but then trying not to think so fast at the same time. But one of the ideas for sure was I was thinking to have a whole bunch of your patterns. Huh?
Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
Cool.
Go ahead. I was thinking about a whole bunch of those patterns, and then within some of those patterns, like if you have a whole bunch of big circle shapes like you do in that one, for example, or even if they're big squares or whatever it is, or even that line work that you do, right, like on this bus. In some of those gaps, it could be black and white, and then in some of those, it could be color.
So you're talking about splitting up the sky? Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry.
I wasn't even thinking of a sky background. Well, I kind of was, because I like how you do that.
Did you say shapes though, or where would I be putting that?
The geometric patterns, I was thinking just basically be all throughout that right side of the...
Okay, so you're talking about covering it, and then like when I fill it in, it would be some black and white and some color?
Some of your designs in there be like you messing around with the textures like you have in some of these, but just straight monochromatic black and white and just grayscale like my drawing is. But then some of those just super pop bright colors. And then on top of that, another idea was that same thing, but some of those colors even be on top of her or something like that. Because like we said, we was thinking we were going to make a print of this anyway. True. So you can always paint over it, and if we don't like it, we can make another one.
If we're doing that.
Because I was definitely thinking about the harmony of getting your awesome color palette in there and having that mesh with my just straight monochromatic, whether we literally combine your colors on top of my shit or we break it out slowly like you was saying, because that's a super ill idea too.
I just have this surrealness. I like surrealism, so it's...
But I can't even... I wish I could think of some of the shapes that were on her shirt off top, but this is for future shit anyway. We got in due time. I just
Y'all
thought that
got
was
an
cool.
Inside look.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was the creative. Yeah, I kind of just wanted to do that just because. Like, I've never had that opportunity. Why not document
That's how it
that?
Goes, man.
Right,
That's
yeah.
Why
not document it, too? Just
man,
cause.
me and my friend Nikeo, he's also part of the Blue Dozen. I love collabing with him all the time. I lived with him, and so whenever we would do collabs, he's a very strategic type of person and very well thought out. And we would get into fights because he would just straight up be like, "No, I don't like that idea," and then I'm like, "Well, I don't like your idea, so what are we gonna do about it?" You know,
right? Yeah, right. Like, do you have a suggestion?
But it never got mean. It was just like, yo, I'm just being honest. Like, I don't feel like that's the essence of our collab right now.
So so it turned out to be a good dynamic because y'all were actually indeed focused on just how can we make some really cool shit.
Yes.
And because y'all had that mutual understanding, it was not taken personal. It's just, I don't like it. That's not going to work.
Yep.
That's not how we're going to get to the end game. And that's fucking dope because y'all were constantly focused on the end game. No matter how vicious it got. I read a Pixar book. Shout outs to Carlton once again.
Dope.
Pixar Creativity Inc. is one of the dopest books I've ever fucking read. Dropped some gems on me.
I gotta read that.
Buzz Lightyear's on the cover of it. Yeah,
That's
it's really
sick.
easy to stand out. Like it's fucking amazing because it broke down how Pixar started from the inception. Like they were starting this shit in the 90s to make Toy Story. Whenever they made Toy Story, I think 97. They were working on that for like 10 years, bro. And they didn't have that technology. And think back at 97.
Whoa.
Think back on the graphics of video games in
they
97.
didn't have that shit.
It did not exist. They invented all that shit. All of the shit that's in video games and everything that we look at that looks super cool, Pixar niggas invented that, bro.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So think of their frustration, my nigga, because they had this vision before the shit even existed. And thanks to Steve Jobs and a few other rich people that believed in their vision, they had to literally invent the technology just so they could make their fucking art.
That's dope. That's
and
passion.
they did that shit, my
That's
nigga.
passion.
And they made like 20 years of classic films
gosh.
from Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, the Cars shit, the Incredibles,
dude.
Monsters Inc, nigga. Like
all those
I ride for Pixar,
all those are solid.
I ride for Pixar. And they're starting to fall off a little bit now, but like, man, 20 years of like just some awesome shit. Like, yeah, Creativity Inc. It's an amazing book, and you reminded me of it a lot because they have something they call the brain trust. Within this brain trust, they would like shred each other sometimes, and they would get some really heated debates and fights about some shit. Like in particular, like one of the movies, Inside Out. Loved that one. That was amazing.
Yeah,
they had these moments of like I forgot what part of the movie they were talking about, but they were onto something, and they got in a big ass fight at lunch. They were having a lunch break, and two of the people, and like one of the guys took it so personal because he was so passionate about it. It was his baby.
Yeah,
they rotate which people are going to be in charge of the next movies, and this was his turn, so he was really into it. And like, man, he kind of felt like his baby was being attacked, and like the guy was like, dog, like, you're onto something. You really are, but like this isn't it. Like this ending won't work. It doesn't fucking make sense.
You need friends like that.
Yeah,
man.
like it's like you are really onto something. I like this and I like this, but that's not how we're gonna fucking get it. And I forgot how they got to the end game, but they did. That's so sick. Break down another metaphor because I haven't got to put it on the podcast. This book has blown my mind in so many ways. Just because I search for that. I'm going to get that with a group of creative niggas.
I will give that to you.
Yeah, right, yeah. So like we can really like break down some shit because it's all about making some cool shit. And sometimes egos can get in the way with that. But as long as you have that same goal of wanting to get to that end game, you can do that shit. But one more metaphor from that book is like at the end of it, as artists, as creatives, we're all responsible for our voyage, in this metaphor of like we're like the captain of our own ship.
Yes.
And we have a crew with us.
Yep.
Depending on what we're doing creatively, like if you make music, if you're a rap artist or any type of music artist, you have a crew of people, and those people are on your ship. You're the captain. Now your responsibility is to say, because you're searching for treasure. We all want the gold treasure, right? Whatever the gold treasure is for you. It's our job as the captain of the ship to say, hey, guys, the treasure's that way. And we're going that way. And you might be fucking lost. You might not know where the fuck you're going, but as the captain, that's your responsibility. We can't be stuck looking at this fucking map, wondering where the fuck we're gonna go. I don't know where the treasure is. And the point is, it's okay to not know where the treasure is. It's okay to be like, yo, guys, we just wasted some time. You know what? The treasure's that way. But because you went that way for a fuck ton and you finally fucked up, now you know you're that much closer to get to the treasure just because of that. And it's our responsibility as the captain to point and be like, guys, we gotta go. And you're gonna get to the treasure eventually. It might take a long ass time, but as long as the captain of that ship, we stay with that focus to get somewhere, you'll get there. And it takes a minute, but yeah, man, it's one of the dopest books ever. Carlton put me up on game, but y'all's clique sounds like that a lot. Like y'all are constantly just focused to get to the end game. That's really, really dope.
For that better piece.
Yeah, it's all about the art at the end of it. And I think that's a really tough thing for a lot of creatives, a whole bunch of creatives.
Man,
sometimes
a lot of people they get caught up in the ego and the people liking their stuff and just eating up their stuff. And I don't know. I mean, although I do love it when people like my stuff, and of course I like the attention, but like, course. That's not why I'm doing this, you know? And I mean, there are those people that are getting all the tons of likes, and that is why they're doing it.
Right.
But yeah, it's just my heart doesn't feel right if I'm not being creative, you know?
Man.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, like I was just talking about Instagram earlier today, because like Instagram's so funny with how not even just Instagram, but just people are very, very funny.
Yes, like just fickle.
Me on the exactly me and the yogi drawing quest. I've been on that quest for some years, and I have a decent following because of that. And it's been really awesome. It's introduced me to some people. I've gotten paid thanks to this shit a few different times just from wanting to study the anatomy. I've met a fuck ton of people, got like at least 1,000 just from doing that part.
That's what's up.
1,000 different people. But as soon as I bounce on to something else and do something else, that doesn't really get as much attention, which is okay. It's just funny how that works in terms of the psychological thing. That's what I'm thinking about in terms of like, if I wasn't really fucking secure with my growth right now, I would tell myself, damn, I have to go do some more yoga drawings right now. And I got at least 10 to 15 on screenshot on my phone that I want to get to, but I'm doing commissions right now. I'm trying to practice tattooing. I'm doing this shit now. So like, there's so many things I'm on a path towards right now.
You're growing right now.
Yeah, like I'm cool.
If you just kept stuck in the fucking yoga thing, then you would just be stagnant.
Yeah.
And you don't seem like a very stagnant person.
Nah. As soon as I feel stagnant, I got to do something else.
Right.
It's a gift and a curse sometimes.
And it's cool because you gained a following, and those people will
Yeah.
now see your other work and stuff, and they might
Right.
appreciate that, and or
Right.
they might put somebody else on your stuff because they see, this person might like
Yeah.
this type of thing that he's now doing.
But I feel like I'm on to something so much bigger now because I haven't posted these yet. So this was my third one technically, but this might be the first episode. I don't know which one I'm gonna do yet, and that's kind of the fun thing. I feel like I just got some heat, just waiting. Like,
The cauldron is getting
yeah, you know, right? I just got some dope, just ready to pitch off, But damn, I just lost myself getting so damn excited. Anyways, yeah.
To be excited.
Right. Eventually, I know there's gonna be a lot of people that fuck with this and like comment, and there's gonna be different suggestions because I'm doing drawings for each of these, and eventually I want to have like, if we can come back here and get you on another episode just for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
If we just have my GoPro set up and just watch you paint. So we're on. I want to have.
Man,
I want to have the actual guests that
That'd
do their
be
shit
dope.
get to have their shit on my podcast as well.
That's what's
But
up.
right now I'm still making this, so I'm gonna do the first like 20 episodes most likely. But
Yeah.
that's why I'm doing the GoPro thing. I've just been recording everything I draw just on that GoPro. To the point to where at nighttime I'm not drawing as much because I can't GoPro that. So I look at some shit and I'm like, no, I gotta get that on the GoPro. Like I have to. Just not even for me, but for these other people, because I think this is gonna be a tool for other people to really get to watch. Because I love time-lapse videos, but you can't learn from watching the time-lapse. That's just really fucking awesome to watch. I love it too.
I always try to look real close at what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let's move too quick.
Right, yeah. But and this, granted, I'm just gonna cut out the dead space. I'm literally gonna. People are gonna get to see how to draw an eyeball slowly, or a skin texture or anything. And after a while, I think this will be a tool to use to draw whatever the fucking viewership wants every now and then. To
Have you
get to
ever
teach
heard of
some other
Bobby
people
Cho?
some shit. Bobby Cho
Or Bobby Chew?
sounds kind of familiar.
He's a animation artist, I believe, but he's really good. You should check him out on YouTube. What you just said kind of like aligned with what he does.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
He's like a YouTube teacher.
Yes. He actually has a school. I forgot the name of it right now.
It's awesome.
It's like Schoolism or something like that. It's something ism, and he actually has other artists that work with him, and people can go to them or like have it online, and they have homework that they can do and like send it in to them, and they'll be like, oh, here's what you can do to make this better, and blah blah blah, and it's like live, real time. It's super cool. And he's all about making people better artists.
Yeah.
That want, like, if you really want to do it, here's a plethora of knowledge. Like, just take the time, pretty much.
Right.
That's it.
But I'm leaving it up to you versus you coming up to me and literally having to teach me how to draw. I hate when people say that. I can't teach you how to draw. It's literally not possible.
They're kind of like teaching, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you good.
They're kind of teaching like animation artists and like game design artists or design, what is it called? Yeah, designers, I guess, for games and like digital designers. There you go.
Right. And
so like they want to learn how to draw that type of style, or like those different types of people, because there's like fairy tale fantasy drawers, and then there's like landscape drawers, and there's cartoon drawers. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so many different styles. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're giving you the tools to teach yourself. Yeah, that's fucking dope. Yeah, I want to do some shit like that too. I dream of being a teacher one day, but not right now.
My friend said something to me that didn't resonate a while back, but now it does.
What was that?
Right now, actually, it just resonated.
What was that? Let's go.
He said, I want to be a master of my craft so I can teach others how to do it.
Yep.
And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, I want to develop a style so I can teach others how to do that style. And I was like, all right. And now that I see him doing, like, he's created a style, and it's mind-blowing. And I'm just like, man, when after like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, when he does start teaching those classes, his work's going to be crazy.
Yep.
And I want to get into my style and understand it so much that I can actually sit there and be like, okay, here's a process of how you can achieve something like my style, you know?
Oh, so that's interesting. You one day dream of teaching people how they can execute shit just like you.
Yes, in a sense, yeah.
And that doesn't scare you in any way in terms of your style being saturated or oversaturated? Is that what the term
I feel
is?
like
You know what
at
I
the
mean?
time, like when I'm doing that, I would be so on top and zooming with it that people wouldn't be able to catch up.
I feel you. Talk
You know
that
what I
talk,
mean?
my nigga. That's how I feel, nigga.
If I'm
That's
teaching somebody how to do it,
talk
then
that talk
I'm a
shit,
expert
right?
at
You
it.
feel me? Like that's what I feel.
I'm the creator.
I've never felt competitive with anybody, even if you do realism. Like we can draw the exact same picture, and I'm confident in mine. Like
Right.
and I'm gonna love yours too. We're gonna have two different ways.
It's
of
gonna
how
be
to love
different.
it.
It's gonna be different regardless.
It always is. It literally can't be the same.
Because you are not me and I am not you.
You feel me? Yeah. And even if they do look the exact same, they go, my nigga, I'm a mouthpiece, dog. Like I'm a cool guy. Like when I'm in my positive space, yeah, like I make friends, dog. Like I've never understood that competitive type rivalry that some artists can get into their shit. And I don't even think anytime it happens, I just feel like it's just they want to be popping too. That's it.
Yeah.
They just going about it in a very twisted way. And it's okay. It happens.
Art to me is not a competition.
Right.
Although sometimes I do make it so in my mind, because I'm only human, and I slip and I catch myself being egotistical and being like, oh, I can do better or blah, 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 you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in the end, I really think art is not a competition.
Right. Have you ever ended art contests?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple. But I always felt weird doing it.
Yeah.
I always felt weird doing
How
it.
so? Elaborate.
I just putting myself up to be judged against somebody else. I just. Oh. Sorry, bro. It's been out there for a while. Yeah, I just that doesn't resonate with me.
Me neither, bro.
Yeah, partly because I'm afraid of the rejection, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, because that means I wasn't good enough in a sense, but I feel like I've gotten over that type of feeling. But that was something that stopped me. But now it's just like I don't really feel the need to.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
I'm still searching for that hit, and I know I'm headed towards it because I'm enjoying the ride. So, nah, nobody else needs to judge my work.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I've been in a couple painting contests, and I got to, because I was new, so very quickly after the first and second day, I knew I was not about to win. Like I was just not in the same caliber as these artists, so I got humbled very, very quickly. But even as I started developing, because I want to kill it, I want to kill them all. I want to be the best. I want to be the illest in everything I do. I am like that.
Yeah.
But in that sense, I didn't like it, and I just wasn't. I saw the scope of certain artists that were doing some of that to feed their families, and for some of them it was so much deeper than what it was for me at that time. And I'm like, it's not that serious for me. Like it is, but it ain't. Like if I really wanted to deep in my fucking heart, I know I could practice that shit every day, and I could get as ill as y'all, and I could start doing some of the sucker shit, like seeing who the judge is for that day and doing something that caters to their heart and their mind, because that's some clever shit that you can do once you know who some of the judges are. Certain contests can be like that.
That's
and
smart.
Yeah, like, and it can get really, really deep in that. And like, that's not what art is for me. Like,
Nah.
I'm good on that. I'd rather us all just set up a booth and just get to sell our shit and just see how everybody does. If you sell all your shit, then congratulations. I'm not gonna be mad at you for making your guap. I don't want to compete with you and have somebody raise a flag and say you're the best. Cause like nah, like that's not how it is. I don't think that's what art is for.
I agree. That is not what art is for.
Yeah, I've never liked it. So that's funny. When that makes a lot of sense on how you're so into the collaboration thing as well. That's awesome. When was your first collab piece?
Man.
Was it with BDC?
No. It was in high school, actually.
Huh.
Yeah.
Before or after painting?
Before.
Oh, so you
Because
drawing.
he and I were trying to do graffiti together.
Okay.
And yeah, we would do little collab pieces in my sketchbook and pass it off in the hallways. That was fun. That was real fun. There's some cool things in that book, man. Super cool things.
So to get back to your, I want to get in your color palette so bad, but real quick before the color palette, to get back full circle onto the how you discovered that you can push and pull your designs with the help of that one acid trip, and that establishment of like you in your mind could control what your patterns did, and just that mind-blowing experience of knowing that afterwards, now knowing that you were literally the master to be able to do that on your paintings. And it took a while, of course, to get to this mastery level, but that moment, like, how did you immediately know that you could do that right after that one trip? And did you feel like you had to take it anymore after that to help get that knowledge from that? Or was it just one time?
I feel like that one time opened up the door to understand that I could do that. But the multitude after, for sure, like, helped broaden like the scope of the vision. Because I remember for my probably three birthdays ago, I took some with my buddies at my apartment, and like, I just had to lay on my bed and put in my headphones and just lay there by myself and not be disturbed for a while. And I saw some things, and like, I saw my pieces morph. I saw them push and pull. I saw new things. I saw how I could like use colors against each other to create like a box. And then I woke up. Well, not woke up, but like got up and just started painting on our wall. And I beveled that out. Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, to sum it all up, it was a multitude of acid hits after to really, really hone in on the style and understand like where I was coming from. Can I answer that again?
Sure.
Okay.
Of course you
Okay.
Of course you can.
can.
Because what I'm basically getting at is the moment of clarity that you had the understanding of it without needing acid anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it was the acid trip, my latest acid trip, which was for my 25th or 24th birthday. I think it was my 25th birthday. And yeah, prior to doing it, I had painted a mural where I beveled out the middle of the sacred geometry that I did, and it made it look like it was jewels. And then I created space inside of those, and I had like shooting comets or shooting stars and meteors and stuff like that going all the way through it. And then I took my acid, and like, I had that internal explosion of vision and a wider scope of vision of understanding my pieces, or the grid that I draw out before I do anything. Because it's just a simple square grid, but like, I can see it from all sides. It's weird. It's really weird. And I don't think I would be drawing like this or painting like this if I didn't do the acid, which is also really weird.
Right, which brings me to my next question. So, say if a kid that saw your shit was just insanely inspired. I'm talking like,
don't do
like
this to me.
Elementary age. It's like talking about how that inspired you in terms of the shapes and all that, and they wanted to be like you.
What would I say?
Yeah, kids are smart, man.
Kids are real smart.
Right.
I would say
'Cause for some, there's a lot of people that, granted, when I get to the thousands and millions of views and all that shit, will not know what that experience is like. So a lot of people would want to know how they can get to that, but maybe without it.
yeah. I would say man. This is a tough question.
Word. Because I relate. I've experienced these things and I've seen some of these beautiful shapes. I've done it in nature and I've done it.
Yeah, I've done it in nature too.
The artificial lights and all that. So I feel like that's the best of both worlds for people who do not understand what it's like. When you've done those things in nature, you get to really see nature's natural patterns and sounds and be blown away, and with artificial lights as well. But you can just hold that and pause that if you can't think of nothing off top. That's all good. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I would try to say learn how to draw first and gather inspiration and just draw from that, because that's really all I did, I guess. I don't. Oh well. I don't like being stumped by questions, so I have to answer this damn thing.
In time, man.
I think it'll help you segue into asking me about the color palette. I guess because I love color so much, I like to see what I can do with it. And like I just put myself in certain situations and let the paint do what it does. I feel like that's what I would say to a kid.
So when you're doing these patterns, because some of them are based off of drawings, are these drawings in colored pencil or are these drawings in pencil?
They would be in pencil.
Okay, so how do you know what colors you're going to put down as you're drawing them?
That comes whenever I sit down at the easel and I look at the surface. It's very rare that I come up with the colors like on the spot, because I like to sit there and look at like what I have and I don't know what the surface looks like, and then it kind of like settles in whenever I start staring at it. Because before I paint anything, I always stare at the...
You sit and stare at it and give it some time?
Yeah.
How long do you think you might stare at it before?
Depends, man. They're all personal battle.
So like hours, days?
Could be.
Wow, it's been days sometimes?
Yeah, man.
Weeks?
Maybe only weeks if it's a larger piece, kind of like this puffin piece that's sitting over there, waiting to be painted on. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it'll just be like a couple of minutes or hours, but there are those days.
In those days when you get stuck, do you just work on something else, or do
Yes, I always have multiple paintings in rotation.
Gotcha.
I gotta be painting.
I like
something,
having
bro.
multiple things too. Yeah,
It helps because the
Love it.
monotony just like gets broken, and so you can come back to something and have fresh eyes, or have acquired a new skill. That's fucking always good.
Oh
I love
yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, when you come in, just oh man, yeah, it's like after tapping my leg, dog. You know, I just had so much swag today, just
Nice.
practicing that shit.
Got that
Like,
shading.
yeah, just after this little whack ass little crown on my thigh, dog.
That's
Like,
what's up.
just an hour of work on my leg. Just, I felt like I don't know. I went like an extra Super Saiyan level up. Like it's crazy. I was tatting so much faster today. Just wiping, and yeah, I felt way more in sync with the gun
That's what's up.
today.
That's what's
Yeah,
up.
it was super cool. But, that's dope. I respect the fuck out of that. Well, I respect the fuck out of working on multiple things. I'd always advise that for any artist to work on multiple things. And some things, fuck it. Like my Tarantino piece I've worked on that for like a year. And it took a minute. I didn't really work on it for a year at all. I just let it chill. Like,
Yeah.
I let it chill for so many months at a time, and then I go back in and do some other shit. And I think, and some of it honestly wasn't necessarily my patience, but more just me like being hesitant to apply the color or to apply the ink pen, because it was in a different way that I normally do. But Yeah, I definitely, within that hour gap, came in and just like you said, applied some new tricks that I had learned within that year and was putting them in there.
Makes it go so much faster.
Yeah, I just gotten a white ink pen. Yeah, so like some things that I had fucked up, I can go in with my white ink and like, oh man, yeah, I can get down. Yeah, shit's cool. One of my professors compared that type of shit to, he said, we're all like Batman as artists. And as an artist, the more things you practice, the more mediums you practice, the more you can add to your utility belt.
Yeah.
If you master that shit, you just have all types of bat rings and all types of gadgets.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, or
That's
Tony
super
Stark,
dope.
if you will.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
Man, I've been watching Gotham lately, and that's actually a pretty good show.
Yeah, I've gotten in and out of it and all types, but yeah, I fuck with it a little bit. I thought
like
their
seeing
Riddler,
the villains grow.
I thought their Riddler evolution was amazing.
Bro, he
But it was
becomes
amazing.
dumb again because they freeze him in ice.
Oh, word.
Spoiler alert.
Right. Yeah. Word. Damn. We'll get back into it. Yeah. That's funny. He's one of those folks. That's hilarious.
But I guess to talk about my color palette more, I had this course in college that was art history, and I think we all had art history if we took art. And sorry, I just saw that happen.
Such a love-hate.
Corner of my eye.
Oh, he's on my hair? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like letting it show like this sometimes. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah,
history.
and they were talking about just showing like the evolution of color and how like the first paint was made and how the first primary colors were made and all that stuff, and I just found that amazing, and I just wanted to learn how to mix any color really, because I thought that would be super useful if I was going to paint something, you know? Like be able to match a color, just look at it and be like, all right, I need a little bit of this, a little bit of this, boom, got it. Okay, good. It's a useful tool.
Yeah.
Because now I'm pretty decent at color matching if I fuck up, like I said earlier.
Right. Yeah, it takes me a minute sometimes. I mix colors like crazy. It takes me a long ass time. My painting teacher used to clown me for it. It was funny.
I need to get in the habit of actually pre-mixing and putting those colors.
Okay, he said something. The last thing he was talking about is wanting to pre-mix some of
Yes, sir.
paint.
So, although I'm good at color matching, I really feel like that there's an easier way to have more of the color that I paint. I'm just not taking the step. Again, I'm not being patient enough with myself to sit down and mix the color prior to painting. And that requires me having like a whole color palette thought out, pre-mixing the colors to do the color palette, then mixing them again to create the amount that I need for them, and then having like the containers. And that's all I need to do, but I just haven't done it.
So are you talking about for one painting at a time, or have you developed a sense of a few different colors that you just genuinely like and want to
one
come
painting
back
at
to?
a time. So when I create a color palette, I would choose the colors for that specific painting and then create like an amount for that.
Right, and you're talking about having a certain amount so you don't have to keep.
So I would have like a mixing session instead of like a painting session. It would be me mixing the colors.
Pre-mix,
Pre-mix, yeah.
Pre-mix, yeah.
And that's what
Which would ultimately save a lot more time.
it would, and a lot more paint, because then I can use the mediums that I have, and I have a shit ton of mediums. I got probably $300 worth of art, like medium and paint, from my friend Tress, who is in the Blue Dozen as well.
So when you say mediums, those are all things that mix with the paint to thin it?
To not thin it, but even like make a color, because it's the base of what paint is made out of or mixed with, like the pigments mixed with. It's like heavy body, which is over there. There's like, I have gloss, I have semi-gloss,
so you
I
can
have matte.
multiply paint.
Yeah. And I have heavy,
You mix that color and then take that and then...
Yep.
Wow.
And so then I could have like a multitude of one color and not have to remix that shit ever.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
The paint doesn't dry out as long as you have it screwed up.
Word.
Like airtight. I'm good.
Oh, that's what's up. Kind of put me on the idea of. So most of these are acrylic?
All of them are acrylic.
All of
Acrylic
them
and spray paint.
Acrylic and spray paint.
Yeah, I don't fuck with oils.
Okay, so is the spray paint what you use to get the drip paint effect?
Yes, sir.
Spray paint.
Yep.
So that's holding the spray can like up close, right? And like squirting it really hard or something?
No, what I did was fill the cap up and flicked it. I just masked it all off.
With the tape.
Yeah.
That's crazy how much you do that with the. So, and within this painting, which is definitely one that I think would be a good one to. Between that one and, like I said, the one with the Carlton, those two would be really, really good to let the viewers see. How many times do you think on this one in particular, do you think you put the tape down over everything else just to get one part of this?
Probably 4 times.
4? Okay, that's not as many as I thought it'd be, so that's not bad.
Well, I learned like the inside isn't too bad. It was really masking off the mountains and then like the pyramid part for the blue parts because I had to mask off the whole blue part, had to mask off all of the beige parts, and then I had to figure out a way to cover up the middle, which I just put like newspaper there and then put tape on the edges.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the middle was kind of like, because I hadn't done the middle yet.
So that was the middle was the last part you did on that. Okay. That's cool though. That's super dope. So now I can picture your process in that so much better. It's a pill, essentially.
Pretty much.
It's a pill, and you did the background, and then got down with your pill, and
that's all on a grid. All of that. That's all made from straight lines.
After the pill shape and the drips, then you did the...
No. Wait, what? Sorry.
What was you saying?
I think we were talking about 2 different things.
Right, yeah, you said something about it's all on a grid.
Yeah, that whole thing was made from a grid, all straight lines.
Oh.
So to make the curve, I used the straight lines.
Oh, I see it now in the yellows.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, the middle came last.
That's really nice. You divide your colors up so well.
Thank you.
The warms and the cools.
Man, this one right here behind us, I'm so... Oh, I gotta show you. Bro.
Oh man, I forgot you were cutting up the canvases and shit and doing all types of crazy shit with that. I haven't even asked anything about that dope ass shit. Oh, it's got black light paint.
No, that's a blue light.
That's a blue light? It just looks dope as fuck in a blue light. How did you discover it did that?
At the show that we had a Blue Dozen show in Houston, and this guy was coming around with like a flashlight that showed like, what's it called? It was like ultraviolet colors, I guess, or just the color spectrum. It was the color spectrum, excuse me. So it was flashing red, blue, green, and all that stuff, and the colors were reacting differently every time he flashed it on my paintings.
On your paintings, right? Because your geometry is just so out here that like, different colors make
this is like
different.
A flower,
right?
The inside of the flower, that's like the pistolas of it, the middle of it, and then this is the petals.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And I really like how that one shines.
Yeah.
Like the light's coming from the bottom.
Yeah. This would be such a dope.
That too. Oh, look at the puffin too.
Man, you're right. That's nuts. You're fucking, man, your paintings, this room would be so dope to trip in. Just your paintings alone. Just come in here, just sit in here and just trip balls.
I would love to see that. I would love for someone to actually have a good experience tripping, looking at my things. That means that I succeeded in what I would like to do. Because you give somebody a comfortable feeling, you know? Or an interesting feeling.
Huh. Pretty dope. You said so you was in school for art?
Yeah. Well, I went to school for sociology, but I did like art classes as much as I could. Snuck them in there somehow.
Okay.
But yeah, I fucking love those classes. This is another humbling moment in my life. We were in the same drawing class, and the teacher asked us, so what'd you do over the summer? And I painted a mural. And like I bragged about it, and I was like, yeah, I spray painted a mural.
Love that shit.
And then like someone else said something, and then he came around. He's like, yeah, I painted. And then someone else went, and I looked at him, and he looked like he did graffiti. And so I met him outside of the class after we were walking down, and I was like, hey, do you do graffiti? He's like, yeah, I do. So he came over to my house, and oh, we can't do that. I just shouted him out. That's his real name. I don't want to get him. Yeah. Okay. We can't use his name.
All right. I'll make something happen with that. We can deal with that.
Okay.
Got you. I can do some cutting and shit. But.
Cool. Anyways, he like I showed him my book, my black book. And he showed me his, and he was way better and way more advanced than I was, and I was the one bragging about it. And he was so chill and humble about it.
What do you mean by black book?
A black book is like a sketchbook that like graffiti writers or writers write in.
Mm.
Like their gyms are in there. It's their diary. Yeah.
Huh. What was wrong with that?
Oh, because I said we did graffiti together.
Can they find your shit like that?
I don't know.
Anyways, that's funny. Okay, fair enough.
He doesn't.
I'm so naive. I'm thinking like
he doesn't go by like he's done illegal pieces and stuff like that, and now he's in art school and stuff. So if that gets and I was in. I got arrested because we did stuff together.
All right, gangster. All right, so you said you graduated. You did sociology in college?
Yeah, so I did sociology in college. I ran track, did all that
me
stuff.
too. What'd you do in track?
The 200
track
and
star
the
shit
400
came.
and the 4x4 and.
Damn, you was a sprinter for real.
Yeah.
I was a jumper. I was not a sprinter.
Word. Word. What did you do?
I did long jump.
Nice.
Yeah.
The jump that I did was high jump, and then I didn't do it in college though.
So see, I wish I could have did high jump, but I jumped off of 2 feet naturally.
No, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I squatted a lot.
I was trying to figure out where the track star came from. I was like, what is he talking? He never said anything about track when I talked to him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, all you gotta do is add shit. But yeah, it ironically first came from Xbox Live.
Word.
Like my junior year of high school, I had gotten an Xbox Live account. Track season, like literally, had just started, and I wasn't even projected to be good in track. Track season just started. That was just around me starting to lift weights and shit, and I just track starred 31. My birthday is March 31st, so like track star 31. Just thought of that, and then just boom. I don't know.
Word.
And that was the Xbox name, and then my homie started calling me Track because I was like notorious for murking niggas on Call of Duty. Like a lot of people flex and brag and shit, but like I could have got paid to play Call of Duty. Like
Word.
No lie. And like Madden, I was like top ranked in the world for a couple of years. And
Really?
Not number one, but I was in the top 100 to 200 ranks for a couple of years.
That's what's
and
up,
Rock Band
bro.
and Guitar Hero, I was stupid nice on the drums, dog. Like stupid nice on the drums. Like Expert Plus, I was the kid that wanted the hardest song you could pick, and I would just murk that shit.
That's what's up.
I was a mutant on video games,
yeah.
dog. I was a fucking square with video games. I wish I drew as much as I played video games back then. Because by then I'd already, if I took all that time I took in video games that I would have applied in art, then I'd already be like a mega star. Like,
I think those are some hours wasted out of the 10,000 that you have to do. to be a virtuoso?
Oh, I've gotten way past 10,000.
Yeah.
I've gotten way past 10,000 in drawing. Way past.
That's
like
what's up.
way past. I've drawn like
Then you're an
strong
expert.
majority of my life. Yeah.
You are an expert, sir.
I mean, for whatever that's worth. But I'm good enough at drawings where I can break down drawing in a lot of different ways, whether it be with a pencil or an ink pen. And I'm getting to the point now to where shit, any tool, if you get me. Like I was flexing earlier with a homie. He's like, so you draw with what do you? He's like, so you draw everything with this? I'm like, nigga, you give me a fucking rock and a sidewalk and I'll draw something, nigga. Like,
Me too.
give me some fucking baby shit and a toilet paper roll, nigga. If you want me to make something dope out of it, I can. If I have to, I prefer not to, but like, nigga, I can draw with whatever. If you give me a tool to draw with, I can draw something dope with that shit. It might take me a minute to figure out the mechanics on how to do it with that tool, but I can figure that shit out. And it took me a while to have that confidence. So for whoever thinks that's arrogant, I honestly don't care, because I didn't believe in myself for a really long ass time in terms of, I told myself for a long time I cannot draw an ink pen, I can't sculpt, I can't paint. I told myself I couldn't do these things. I just didn't even try for a long time.
You're defeating yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's the tragic part about it, to the point to where like it took me a minute in terms of when I started diving back into art in college and I recommitted and got an art major. I finally got in a painting class and worked my ass off in the first couple weeks. Had the first critique of my painting teacher and he asked like, have you ever painted before? And he's like, no. And he asked me like 3 different times, and like he's a hard ass too. So like the fact that he asked me that so many times, and he kept saying like, cause he's a kind of quiet dude, he's not gonna give you too much praise, but like, he's like, you haven't painted before? I'm like, nah. And he's like, you kept making a face. And I'm like, yeah, man, I must be out here, bro. I'm doing something decent. Like, yeah, like so proud of myself, man. Up. Like, whoa, I can paint. Like, what? And
that's dope.
Yeah, the sculpting confidence took a minute. It took one of my teachers. Shout outs to Glenn. I think it's Glenn. I forgot your last name. Is it Williams? I think his last name is Williams too. No, a surprise, common ass last name. But man, shout outs to Glenn from Northwest Missouri State and Steve Banks. Both of them so much. Glenn taught me a lot about plaster cast and how to get really good at plaster cast. I made these a lot of sculptures with hands, and because I talk with my hands a lot anyway, so I was thinking about the different organic shapes that you can make with hands. So I started making plaster cast shit and combining them to make like flower shapes, and eventually I made this big ass waterfall with hands going up and making that spiral, but its plaster cast is so heavy that it started to fall apart. So then I had to think of a new way to do it. And thank you, Steve Banks, so much, because for a couple weeks he was pushing me like, yo, have you ever worked with styrofoam? I'm like, nah. Like, and he told me how easy it was. You just gotta spray it in like a Walmart bag or anything to hold it in, because it's spray foam and it's messy as fuck. If it gets on you, it fucking sucks. If it gets on your hair, it's gonna rip some shit off. You can't fuck with it because it's super thick. Like, you'll just rub it in and you have to wipe off even more hair. But anyways, safely spray it into like a bag, give it like a day or two, it'll solidify, start to make that styrofoam texture. Take it out the bag and you have a big ass blob of styrofoam. Take some chef knives, nigga, you can just hack that shit.
Really?
Yeah. And I made like I made a 7-foot sculpture with wings, like made out of hands.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it was really, really dope. Super dope. That's like my baby. That's one of my prized like art pieces.
Whoa.
Especially because I was so scared. And like I had to learn how to really, really sculpt. The plaster cast was awesome because it was getting some good details, but I had to take that big ass blob and take a knife and just look at my hand and just cut that styrofoam.
Yeah, dude.
And eventually I started getting to where, okay, I know how to make grooves in the palm and some of these shits that look like knuckles and these designs with that. Not nigga, I got to where I felt like a monster with that.
That's
yeah.
Respect, bro.
And I put mad hours into that sculpture, and then I sprayed it with spray paint, and it looks like concrete. It looks so heavy. And I know I pulled off the texture part right, because when I put it up for my senior show, people would go up to it and get stupid close and tap it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dog. It looks super heavy, huh? You can just grab that shit and just pick it up. Like, it's so light. I literally, because it's styrofoam, and styrofoam is so forgiving, because if you cut off a big ass chunk of fingers, just take some of that spray foam, spray it, and stick it back on there. Wait for that shit to dry again. You go right back at it again. It's super cool. It does some tricky shit and gets super thick in some areas. I ain't quite figured that out, but I got really, really good at it. I want to make some more of them so bad.
In a sense.
Yeah. Brandon, I don't have enough knowledge about clay to really.
Well, when you said reconnecting it with the spray again, when like something falls apart in clay, like
when
you
it's
can
in
make
the slip form
still. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to make some more of those. That'd be really cool.
I really want to fuck with clay, man. But like I know, man. I just want to try to see if I can make a whole like cube that's beveled out and then paint it.
You want to make one of those, but in like 3D form, huh?
No, I want to make one of those.
Those?
Like the hexagon, because if you look at it, the top part and the bottom part make two sides of a cube, and then you're kind of looking inside of the cube when you have the triangle parts. So the cube is kind of being held like this.
Right, at an angle.
Yeah.
To where the point is right at your face.
Yep.
Which gives it so much depth, yeah. Which is a real cool hidden gem in that. But yeah. So how do you feel about your school journey? Because you went into the sociology thing and I
feel like I should have done just straight art. I got talked out of doing art, unfortunately. But I really am thankful that I did sociology, because I understand things so much more.
Right.
And I am a very like intuitive person, and I love people, and I love like listening to people and helping people, and like just being real with people and being deep with people, because I mean interactions with each other is meaningful. It's not it's never a waste if you are listening, and not a lot of people know how to listen. Yeah.
That's deep, yeah. I feel that so hard too, because I was a psychology major before art.
Yeah,
like
bro.
2-3 years, yeah. Yeah, maybe that was like the thing that like made us immediately bond, and we didn't even realize it. But like, damn, we were both really, really into art for a long time. Both seemed to kind of take it for granted for a space of time, and both were into the study of the mind, or the minds, if you will. Wow, that's crazy. That's dope as fuck.
Kindred spirit.
Right, yeah, that's hella crazy.
And you did track. That's dope.
Oh, yeah, even more. Yeah, that's fucking nuts. Right, for real. But the art is totally different. Yeah. But it totally isn't either, though, because I definitely consider you a tactician of the like highest degree.
Bro, I showed your stuff to my friend Nikeo, and he was like, wow, that looks real.
Like, thanks. Thanks to whoever Nikeo is. Is he in BDC?
Yes, sir.
Hey, that's what's up. Yeah, I'm excited. I want to meet some of y'all. We gonna get some more of these episodes in. That's dope. I love doing this shit, man. I love picking people's brains and shit anyway. It's dope. I want to create a platform for artists of all sorts that are doing so much different cool shit. Just would love to talk about it. Shit's crazy. Shit's hella crazy.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I was so hyped. I just appreciate you being willing to let me come out and do it. For sure. I feel like there's so many other questions I could ask, but we've been kicking it for a minute. We already got a solid little chunk of time, man. We're really close to like the hour and a half mark anyway. Technically, we might be at an hour and a half actually again, which is dope as fuck. I guess that's my average podcast time.
That's what's up.
For what it is. So we out here. Thank you to everybody. Thank you once again for this cool ass episode. Definitely gonna get you on some other ones, ask even more questions and shit. Probably have them do some live art of some sort eventually for other episodes, but in due time, guys. So thank you to the viewers. Thank you to everybody's suggestions. Are always appreciated. Comments, all that cute stuff. Love you guys.
Instagram at _ESCOVE _ Escove.
Yeah, get that in there.
Blue Dozen Collective. Besh, be easy, step hard. That is the motto.
They out here. Cool. That's what's up. Well, all right, y'all. It's been real. Thank you for listening and viewing the Artist Podcast. Y'all have a good one.